They are anti-Islam. They are anti-Semitic. They are anti-EU. They want to leave the European Union. They're pretty much anti-everything. they're pro-nationalism. And what nationalism in Germany is, it means you support the rights of German citizens and German citizens only, to the exclusion of all others. So, why does this matter? Why does all this German election stuff matter? It matters because I've been making this point for a long time that the establishment, the two major parties across the world, if we look at the Democrats and the Republicans with Donald Trump, if we look at in France where they had this new party run against this really, really extreme right-wing party, very similar to the AFD, that was a stunning rejection of the establishment. When you look at the UK and how the Liberal Party in the UK completely moved to the populist left. And now in Germany, where we have this far right-wing populist party gaining seats. So that's pretty surprising. What I've been saying for a while is that populism, sticking up for the lower income, sticking up for the working class, regardless of if you're far left or far right or even in the center, if you stick up for the working class and you make your point and make your case that you are for the working class, they'll vote for you. And that's what we're seeing in Germany. The CDU, led by Angela Merkel, who's been chancellor since 2005, they're the party of the conservatives. They're the party of the rich, the wealthy, the powerful. The SPD, the more liberal party, led by Martin Schulz, they were not able to get their message across about a free, a more fair Germany. The SPD and the CDU actually have governed together. So in parliamentary governments, parties govern, not independently like in America, but they govern together. So imagine in America, this would be like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton being co-leaders. Donald Trump would still be the president, but Hillary Clinton would she would be not the vice president, but she would be active in the government. She'd be a member of Congress, and it would be very confusing. But in parliamentary governments, where you have a parliamentary system, parties govern together. Regardless of their disagreements, they have to govern together because the country has to be governed somehow. It has to be run somehow. And when you look at the CDU/CSU and the SPD, they've been governing together since 2013, 4 years ago when they had elections in 2013. And Germans feel that both parties, one is the party of the rich, that's Angela Merkel's party, and one seems to be moving toward the right. The SPD seems to be siding with Angela Merkel on a lot of issues now. They're moving closer and closer to the more neoliberal, the new liberal, the center. And voters are sick of it. They don't want traditional party of the rich and party of the center. They want populism. And neither of the two parties in Germany gave them that. So that's why they chose the AFD and Die Linke, which is a populist left-wing party, and the Greens, which is also another left-wing party. They're choosing these parties not because solely of the rhetoric that's being shown by these parties, but really what the parties present to the public. And the AFD, or the far-right extremist party, they were presenting a message of populism. We're going to stick up for the working class, we're going to stick up for the middle class, and we dislike the rich. They're anti-rich. And Die Linke, the left, in English, they also stood up for the working class. So did the Greens. So, stunning rejection of the establishment. I mean, Angela Merkel was supposed to win in a landslide. Angela Merkel was supposed to get over 37%. She was supposed to crush everybody else. And she got like a third of the vote, like 33% of the vote. That's embarrassing. For incumbent chancellor, that's embarrassing. Same thing for the SPD. Martin Schulz was leading in the polls, and to be beaten by 13 points when you were leading in some of the polls way back in like March, that's also embarrassing. So both parties, the CDU and the SPD, the two governing parties, the two establishment parties, the parties of the upper class, the upper middle class, these wealthy parties are going down in the election, going down in the polls. And these new parties, the AFD, which is a brand new party, said, hey, the reason why so many people are unequal in Germany, Germany has a huge wealth and income inequality problem. The reason why a lot of people are poor, a lot of people don't have the means in Germany, is because of the Muslims. It's because of the Syrians. It's because of these migrants coming in and taking our German jobs. By the way, it sounds very similar to what Hitler said about the Jews. The reason why Germany's middle class were suffering in Germany, Hitler said, was because of the Jews. The Jews were coming in, they were buying the banks, they were stealing the jobs. So the AFD ran on that message and they got a lot of votes. Die Linke, the left, and the Greens, they ran on a platform of populism, just pure left-wing populism. The reason why so many Germans are unequal in this society is because of the rich. The rich and the powerful are holding the wealth in for themselves. And the FDP, which is the centrist party, they said the reason why everyone was so unequal was because of Angela Merkel's failed policies. And they tried to distance themselves from Angela Merkel while also trying to align with Angela Merkel in many ways. So this is a stunning result. Let's show the results just one more time. There we go. And notice how Angela Merkel did not get 50%. So that's only 33%. She's going to have to combine with one of these parties, or more than one party, to form a coalition government. So the reports from the German news is that she's going to combine with the AFD and the Greens and the Liberals. So all the populist parties. So she's going to try to include policies that the AFD supports, that the Greens supports, that the left supports. So it's going to be a negotiation government. But the SPD, I posted on Snapchat that Martin Schulz was conceding. He just conceded. He congratulated Angela Merkel on her victory. Not in the speech, but some reports are that he may have called her. We don't know for sure. But he was conceding. He declared defeat, which is always a difficult thing to do, and he said he would not be governing with Angela Merkel anymore. So their party is going to be separate from the other parties. So Die Linke, the Greens, the FDP, and the AFD are going to govern with Merkel. And poor Martin Schulz, he'll be governing alone at just 20%. So if all these parties combine, CDU, AFD, FDP, the Greens, and the left, if they all combined, they would crush the SPD. But I don't really know what to make of this. It's a stunning rejection of the establishment, definitely, because these two parties both lost seats, and all these parties have gained seats. But in many ways, it's the end of an era. I mean, Angela Merkel is super popular in Germany, yet her party was only able to get so little votes, which shows the problem in parliamentary government. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the election. Last thing I'm going to say is it's important to note that America also bears some concern about this election because Angela Merkel is vocally opposed to Donald Trump. Angela Merkel doesn't like Donald Trump. The SPD doesn't like Donald Trump. The only party that likes Donald Trump are the people most like Donald Trump, and that's the AFD. AFD is similar to Hitler and similar to Donald Trump. They like Donald Trump, and they're going to probably try to move Merkel to working with Donald Trump because Merkel has publicly stated she doesn't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump has insulted Angela Merkel multiple times on Twitter, and Angela Merkel has said, she's basically dissing Trump. She doesn't like him. None of the parties except this one like Donald Trump. But that's why it's important to America, because we'll have a battle royale in many ways between our president and Angela Merkel, who's going to remain chancellor. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. The far right is rising. The populism is rising. People fighting for the poor and the working class are rising. And I don't agree with the AFD on many issues, but they ran a liberal campaign. They ran a campaign based on the people. And that's why they did so well. That's a strong number for the AFD.